What's up, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is Ray, Fit for Acting YouTube channel. So today I'm going to do something different. I'm going back to my childhood. I want to talk about something that I loved growing up, which is video games. I don't know if you guys played video games growing up, but I grew up with Nintendo. I remember my first game that I played, Karate Kid. I distinctly remember playing the game. Right at the beginning of the game, you have stairs that go down and then go back up. When I played the game, I could go down the stairs, but I couldn't get out of that little pit. I didn't realize all I had to do was push the up button to jump. But that was my first experience playing video games. I had my older cousins, I'd go over their house, play their Nintendo games. I used to play classics. Anticipation, Russian Attack, Contra, Super Contra, Battletoads, Double Dragon, Marble Madness, Excite Bike, RC Pro-Am, 1942, all of the classic games. I loved playing those. Metroid. So that was my youth growing up back in the 80s. I even had Game Boy. Love playing Tetris to this day. The only person that I found that can beat me in Tetris is my friend Adrian. What else? I ended up getting, of course, Game Gear. So back in the early 90s, I actually had the TV tuner. So it was an accessory that you plugged into your Game Gear so that you could actually watch live television on your portable. Pretty crazy for the tech they had back in the day. It even had a little antenna that you pull out. And again, had a bunch of games on there. I loved playing that. I wanted to get the Nomad, which was the portable Genesis. Never got that. Of course, I got my Sega Genesis, and it was Christmas of 1992, and it was released, I believe, November 24th, 1992. That's when Sonic had come out. I don't remember. I think it was Sonic 1, but yeah, I got that for Christmas. Loved playing those games growing up. Eventually traded with a friend of mine in school so I could get a Sega CD. So I got Sega CD, and back in the day, if you remember, Sega, it was either top loaded, like where you put the Genesis on top, or you'd have the Genesis on the right. So the one that I had, the Genesis was actually it was on the left, and then the Sega CD was on the right. So that's the one that I had. I think I still have games too for that, but man, so many good games. What was it? Ground Zero Texas, Double Switch, Sewer Shark. What else? Crisscross, music video. You can make your own music video. Corpse Killer. I got that game, and it was just crazy back in the day because there were all these games that they made for like Sega CD where it was FMV or full motion video, which back then it was like amazing because you're playing a game and in between scenes you have people actually talking, actors. It was like the worst acting ever, but as a kid it was amazing. So that was it with Sega CD. I ended up getting PlayStation. I was into the magazines. Did research on PlayStation before it came out. Actually ordered the PlayStation from Electronic Boutique in Watertown. This is back in Boston where I'm from. And it was $299 for the Sony PlayStation. I got it September 9th, 1995 on a Saturday. Brought it home, super excited to play, couldn't even play. You had the AV cable, so red, white, and yellow. I was used to the old-fashioned TVs with the RFU adapter, the connector you would like turn on, so I couldn't even play for a day. Where I lived, I'd hear about different friends of mine that would get stuff stolen, so my mom was like, don't tell anyone you have that game. But yeah, I had it for months, and then eventually I started letting my friends know that I had a PlayStation. It was like state-of-the-art back in the day. I was such a gamer when I was a kid. I would call the video game companies and talk to them over the phone when I was on my lunch, after school, before school, literally in the payphones, just learning about the technology, the games that were out, the games that were coming out, just tons of different stuff. And I still remember Sega is 1-800-USA-SEGA, and then let me see, 297-9776. I think it was like 1-800-769-7669, something like that, for Sony Computer Entertainment of America. But yeah, I was addicted to games back then. Had that for years, ended up getting the PlayStation 2 once I moved out. Actually, I had PlayStation 2 in Boston too. I had PlayStation 2, I had Xbox, Out here, I had an Xbox. I believe it was the One S. I ended up selling it. I have multiple PlayStation 3s, even like modded ones. Never got a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5. But I still have my old school games, and yeah, what a love I have for those games. Specifically on PlayStation, certain games, I have to touch on this real quick. Playing Doom, right, by id Software. When I was a kid, that was the scariest game to play by yourself. And again, I'm like 6th grade, 7th grade. This is 96, 97. I'd even play that game to Fuji's, the score. I would play that soundtrack while playing Doom or Resident Evil. Those are some of my favorite games for PlayStation. Also Tomb Raider, Wipeout. I used to have Destruction Derby, Jet Moto. Of course, Twisted Metal 2 is like one of the most amazing multiplayer games that I've ever played. And then Nintendo 64, of course, I have had multiple machines. My favorite games, of course, GoldenEye 007, battle with my friends like Osway back in the day, and the only person to beat me is James. You know who you are. I gotta play you again when I come back to Boston or wherever you're at. We gotta play. I need a rematch. But yeah, video games growing up was such a big part of my life. It helped with hand-eye coordination, also with reading, because I would read magazines back in 1992. I learned how to pronounce words better, and even making phone calls as a kid, like talking to people, having conversations about games and third-party developers and peripherals and all these different things. It was amazing. I'm so grateful that I had that experience. Now, grown up, working a lot, not a lot of time for games, but in the future in my house, I plan to do like a game room. I did have one of those arcade 1-ups. It was like Pac-Man, what else? Galaga. I had different games. I sold it because it was a little bit delayed when you played. I felt like pushing the buttons. It wasn't like the arcade where you could push it really fast and it would speed up your shot. It was just more like slow. So in the future, when I get a real one, I want to get an official one. Even if it's like modded with all the games, I need it to be bigger in size. I'm 6'3". I need something easy to play. Plus, I want it to be just like the arcade, like to have the real look and feel of that. And that is my video for today. I was a gamer growing up, something that I loved, something that you may not know about. I still have my game collections. That's pretty much it. That's one piece of me. Hope you guys liked the video. Comment down below, let me know what systems you grew up playing. Again, I've had every system. The only systems I didn't have were actually Super Nintendo. I never had, but I never had Super Nintendo, never had Panasonic 3DO. I guess we had an Atari when I was a kid. I don't remember that. Neo Geo, Lynx, never had any of those systems, and never had Dreamcast, never got into that one, or GameCube. But yeah, love games. All right, guys, have a great one. Take care. Another video coming up soon.